Hi guys, this is the second Greek myth read aloud that we have going, and this one is Persephone. When the world was new, there was no winter, or so the ancient Greeks believed. It was summertime all year long. Every day was sunny, and rain showers only lasted long enough to freshen the earth, so that there were always flowers growing in the fields, and ears of corn were always ripe and ready to be harvested. Trees had leaves all the year round and bore fruit and flowers together. So, how did it happen that nowadays we also have autumn, spring, and winter? This is how the ancient Greeks explained it. The three most powerful gods met to decide how to share out the fresh new world between them. They argued about it endlessly and couldn't agree because each wanted the best bits. In the end, they decided to draw lots and let luck decide. Each wrote his name on a disc of clay, and the three discs were shaken in a helmet. Then they took turns to draw out a name without looking. The first name to be drawn was that of Zeus, so he was given first choice of the world's kingdoms. He chose to become Lord of the earth and sky. I'll keep the Titans and everyone else in order with my fiery thunderbolts, he boasted. The second name to come up was Zeus's blustery, rambunctious brother, Poseidon. I'll take the kingdom of the seas, he said. I'll have a great time whipping up waves and swamping ships. That left the third brother, silent, solemn Hades, with no choice. He had to accept the third great kingdom of the world, the underworld, which people go to when they die. At first, Hades was happy enough ruling his kingdom underneath the earth. His subjects were quiet and obedient, for they were just the shadows of people from the world above. They could never return to the sunlight, but they were happy enough in the underworld, unless they were being punished for being very wicked when they were alive. All the same, there was no denying that Hades' kingdom was dim and shadowy in comparison with the world above. After a while, he began to long for a little of life's color to cheer up his icy palace. He summoned his chariot, drawn by two wild-looking black horses, and rode up into the living world to see what he could find. As he drove through the sunny countryside, he saw a group of girls playing in a meadow. One of them was so beautiful that Hades fell in love with her at once. He turned his chariot around and rode straight to Mount Olympus to ask Zeus who this lovely maiden was. Her name is Persephone, said Zeus. She is the daughter of Demeter, the goddess of all growing things, who makes seeds sprout and flowers bloom and fruits swell on the trees. Well, I want Persephone to be my queen, said Hades. You must give her to me. That would never do, said Zeus, looking horrified. Demeter would never forgive me if I sent her daughter to live in your gloomy underworld. Hades knew it was no use arguing with Zeus, so he went back to the underworld and sat for several days brooding upon his iron throne. Then suddenly he made up his mind. I don't care what Zeus says, he declared. Persephone shall be mine. I'll go and get her myself. He leapt into his chariot, rode out of the ground, and snatched up Persephone as she was picking flowers in a meadow. He galloped away with her, and the earth closed over them. When Demeter learned that her daughter had vanished, she wrapped herself in a long, dark cloak and went out into the world to find her. She searched for 5 days and nights without rest, asking every living creature that she met for news of her. Not one of them had seen Persephone. She was returning home weary and heartbroken when she noticed something bright caught in the split in the rocks. It was the ribbon that Persephone had been wearing around her waist. Demeter could not think what this could mean, but the sight of it filled her with dread. She sank down on the ground and wept. While she was weeping, it grew dark, for Helios, the god who drives the sun chariot across the sky, had finished his day's journey and was returning his golden horses to their stable. He stopped when he saw Demeter. Up in the sky, I look down on everything that happens in the world, he told her. I saw your daughter snatched away by Hades to be queen of the underworld. I'll show you a picture from the book. Here it is. And that is Hades on his chariot with his horses, grabbing Persephone and taking her to the underworld. All right. Continue reading. When Demeter heard this, her sorrow changed to the most terrible anger. She vowed that she would let nothing grow on earth till Zeus made Hades give her daughter back. No one could make her change her mind. Seeds rotted in the ground, plants withered and died. There was no grass for the cows to eat and no corn to make bread because the ears were covered in mildew. The people of the world were starving and even dying. They blamed the gods for this, quite rightly, and pestered them with endless prayers to put things right. Zeus saw that he must sort the problem out. He knew it would be useless to threaten Hades, but perhaps he could be coaxed into giving Persephone back. If anyone could persuade him, it would be Hermes, the god's messenger. His winged sandals carried him nimbly through the air on the gods' errands, and his tongue was just as nimble in sweet-talking them into doing what he wanted. Zeus ordered him to try his charm on Hades. Hermes flew down the dark and narrow passage that leads to the underworld and bowed before its king, who sat enthroned with pale-faced Persephone by his side. She was no longer smiling, but looked thin and chilled, for despite Hades' coaxing, she had refused to eat anything since she had arrived. "Great king," began Hermes, "my master sends me to congratulate you. You have proved that you have power not only in this kingdom, but in the world above. The gods have noticed the great changes you have brought about there." "I expect they have," said Hades with satisfaction. "People are dying, and then they come to me to swell my kingdom." "But if the human race should die out from starvation, how will your empire keep on growing? There will be no new souls to swell it. Think of that. Perhaps the solution is to let Persephone go." Hades put a hand to his eyes and gave a terrible groan as if his heart was broken. "You are right," he said. "Take her and I will rule alone." Joyfully, Hermes led Persephone back to her mother, who flung her arms around her and kissed her. But then she drew back in alarm. She had felt the chill on her daughter's cheeks, the cold touch of the underworld. "Did you eat anything in Hades' kingdom?" she asked anxiously. "No, mother," said Persephone. "I knew that I must not. But once I was so thirsty that Hades gave me a pomegranate to suck, and I accidentally swallowed 7 of its seeds." Then Demeter knew that Hades had tricked her, for no one who has eaten in the underworld can return to life in the world above. Even Zeus could not alter this law, but he made Hades accept a compromise. For half of each year, Persephone must live with him in the underworld, but for the other half, she could return to her mother. Ever since that day, when her daughter is away, Demeter misses her so much that her sorrow makes the earth grow cold, leaves turn brown and fall, and winter comes. But when Persephone returns, Demeter forgets her grief and fills the earth with warmth and life. Then spring comes once again. So that's how it explains the seasons. Let me show you that there's one more picture, so I'll share that with you before we're done reading for today. So here is the picture, and this is Hermes, the messenger god. He is down in the underworld talking to Hades, and this is Persephone, who is sitting there as his queen. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that second Greek myth, and there will be more. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.